everybody, thanks once again for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about the Hoka Mach X after 300 miles. How'd I like the shoe? How many miles you can expect to get for your money. But first, today's featured running trail is an early morning run at Walt Disney World Resort. There's been a trend lately with companies. They take the daily trainers and they just try to put a plate in them. They try and do a little bit of redesign to give them a bit more kick and responsiveness so that they can be a daily trainer as well as used for up-tempo days. And that's exactly what Hoka is trying to do when they created the Hoka Mach X. This is the first version of this shoe, but I feel like Hoka took it a little bit differently. And where other companies are taking the daily trainers and redesigning to be more up-tempo, I felt Hoka kind of took a faster, more race day shoe, and they tried to redesign it to be more of a daily trainer. This ride was much different from any other Hoka that I've worn. But first, let's get into the basics. It's a neutral support shoe, road and track running. Hoka lists as responsive cushioning, and I'd say it's about medium cushioning. 5mm drop. I wear a size 12. This weighed in at 10.07 ounces. That's 309 grams. I found it true to size. Gave it an A- for sustainability. I'm really pleased with the amount of recycled content that Hoka's put in the shoe. If you look at this screenshot of the specifications for the shoe, everything in yellow is some sort of recycled content. Hoka, really, they kind of set the bar for sustainability. And the cost $180. So Hoka, pretty much like the rest of the companies, what they do for that up-tempo workout and shoes is they put a plate inside. Now this doesn't have a carbon plate, it has what's called a PBAX plate. So PBA is a plastic polymer used in lots of different running shoes. That's PEBA because it's a light, resistant, but provides energy return material. Well, what that PBAX plate is, that PEBAX, is they've taken that polymer and they've squished it down tight into a plate. So it's hard. I mean, you can, that's the plate right there. And so it's a hard plate, but it's not a carbon plate. It's a PBAX plate. It's fairly new, this type of design. I did some reading trying to figure out if they talked about this, by the way, is Albert, our newest addition to the family here. If you hear him scratching around down below, come here, come on up here, say hello. Say hello to the crowd. You're a good boy. He's a good boy. All right, now you get down. So where was I? Oh yeah, so I wanted to see if there's a difference between this PBAX plate and the carbon plate. You know, and there's certainly nothing definitive. They both seem to, if you have a carbon plate in your shoe, you say it's better. Folks with a PBAX plate say it's better. So, as usual, shoes, that's why we're talking about them. Everybody has their own opinion on them. So this PBAX plate is sandwiched in between the PBA foam and this EVA foam. Hoka says this PBA foam layer is more resilient than what you will find in the Hoka Carbon X. And of course, it's got that Hoka Meta technology. So this outsole is a Durabrasion rubber technology, the same rubber that they use in their trail shoes. So it's certainly an interesting mix of technologies that Hoka's put into this to come up with the Mach X. As for the fit, it had a distinctly different feel from most other of your daily trainers, even not just Hoka ones. And I think that's, to me, why it had more of that race day shoe feel to it, because you're just sitting much more lower on the shoe. It feels like you don't really sink as much into the shoe. as you feel like you are a bit more on a firmer plate. All that being said, I still really liked the fit, really like this jacquard fabric up top, nice, light and airy. What perhaps you don't maybe get, what you may be used to in sinking into the shoe and having the sole kind of come up around your foot, they kind of make up for the way that this clasps around and just locks your foot in. Just has a slightly different feel from your typical daily trainer. When I did my initial review, I'd had 44 miles on it, and I was saying that while I liked it, I hadn't really found a sweet spot. It certainly seemed to do better when I was going faster, which it's designed for, than some of those slower miles. Well, as it turns out, this shoe really just needed to get broken in, because I take notes on all my runs, and especially when something interesting and different happens at a point. And it's really at mile 77 where I felt the shoe, I kind of really broke it in, more so than a lot of shoes. I feel they're great right when you get them. Other ones not so much. This one, also in mile 77, really became a fan of it when I felt I was really, that rocket technology just had me leaping off the pavement. So it was really great at those faster speeds. And as for the slower runs, it was adequate. And also, let me just add, this is precisely why I do 300-mile reviews, because from mile 1 to 77, it was really quite a different ride from what I had from 77 to 300. Also, you kind of get to know the shoe, what to expect out of the shoe a little bit more. So I think it's important information, and that's why I try and do these 200 miles reviews, hoping that folks will find it useful, which also is the point where I say, if you haven't ever subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so. I do these shoe reviews, but more exciting for me is we're trying to do a race in every state, race the nation. We do fun runs. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and you'll be notified anytime we upload any of our videos. So anyways, back to the ride for this. And so I got to the point where I really just used it for my up-tempo days, and I just didn't use it as much for my other slower daily runs, which the slower runs make up 80%. So it's taken me a good while to get to 300 miles on this shoe, but we made it. So my biggest complaint with the other two Hokas I've run in, one was the Clifton, the other was the Mach 4. I felt by mile 300 they had really gone flat, lost a lot of that responsiveness and no spring left to them. And I thought this shoe was going to be different. It seemed to be holding up great, but I tell you, it kind of fell off the cliff about mile 252. For a fast run, up tempo, and it just has really seemed to lose a lot of that responsiveness and springiness, and started that spiral down. Now, I think it still has some life left in it. It wasn't quite as bad as the other two here at mile 300, but not too much more. I'm going to say about another 50 miles. This grip has been good, and that's been my experience with really all Hokas, but I would say especially with this one, that Durabrasion rubber that they use, and this is the same stuff they use for the trail shoes. The grip's been great, because I do a little bit of trail running, crushed gravel, but on the wet surfaces, it did really well. But as for the wear on this, you can see where I land on the heel, and it's just about, it's worn through that rubber. There's still a little bit here along the edge, but as soon as you start getting into that foam, your ride is just an altered ride. I don't think you should be running with shoes once they get to that point. And so we're almost there. And so I would say that 50-mile threshold I said, 350 miles, extra 50 miles that you can get, that would probably be compatible as well with what's left right here on the heel. So to summarize, the Hoka Mach X is a great shoe, I think, for you to consider for your up-tempo running days, especially if you're looking for something a little bit different. Just be aware it's going to take a little bit of time to break this in. You may not be used to that with a running shoe. If you like a softer shoe, this might not be the one for you. It's a bit more firm, but also just the feel of it, as it's just got that low trim feel to it. So you probably definitely want to try it on, and you can expect to get 350 miles out of this shoe. I have to say, I am glad I did give it a shot. It's different, and I always like different. I'm glad I stuck with it. Again, after mile 77, it became a more enjoyable ride, and I knew which runs I wanted to use it for, and those up-tempo runs. And so if you've made it this far, you've made it all the way through the video. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you've worn this shoe, go ahead and put your comments in the section down below. It's always helpful for other people to see what other folks' experiences are with the shoes and not just mine. And thanks so much for making it through. And get out there, sign up for a race, and get out there and just keep racing the nation.